We're DINKs. We're gonna get asked daily when we plan on having kids.
We're DINKs. Of course we're gonna go out to eat every night after work.
We're DINKs. We don't have to ask our family for financial help or to watch our kid when we want to go out.
We're DINKs. We're gonna go to Costco and buy all the snacks in bulk that we want.
They're so dedicated to this calling, so intent on consumption, that they are willing to end their own bloodlines to pursue it. His ancestors fought and struggled and persevered and pioneered and bled and suffered, all so that he could exist, all for him. And he turns back to those people, to his ancestors, to his blood, and he says, yeah, sorry guys, we're done. We're done here. I'm going to end the bloodline right here. I'd rather have some extra spending cash to buy Doritos, I've decided.
So recently conservatives are making no secret that they actually see women as just baby machines, whether that is their war against like no-fault divorce and basically trying to trap women in marriages they're not happy in, or it's the stuff to do with trad wives and how they want a woman to serve like, this very traditional role as basically just wife and mother, although I have seen some spins on it where they want that and they also want the woman to work as well, which I find quite interesting. Doesn't seem like a natural trad wife there. But recently, what has been making them mad is viral TikToks of people who are dual income, no kids. Basically couples who both work and they're getting older and they don't have children. So their whole life does not have to revolve around looking after kids. Now, I thought conservatives were for individual liberty. I thought they didn't mind what people did with their lives within the confines of the law. And I thought, both working and just not having children seems pretty tame. You're both contributing to society. You have a job, you pay your taxes, and you enjoy the freedom that comes without having to look after one or several human beings who rely on you for everything. And all of this in an economy which really doesn't make it easy to have children in the first place, and in many countries that don't have public services that can help you with childcare. So no wonder people are both choosing not to have children because they literally can't afford it at the very least, but also people are now realizing, being a parent is extremely hard. And you really, if you want to be a good parent, have to basically give yourself to the child and strip away most of your identity for at least a certain number of years, because primarily you are going to be a father or a mother or just a parent. And the problem with that is that so many of us are conditioned by society to feel like having children is basically just, the next stage of life. Like you get married and you have a kid. And we don't really question if we should be parents. And you guys will have either people in your life, or maybe you've even had bad parents and you're like, you shouldn't have had children. And the compulsion they felt because of society, for example, or religion to have children was actually bad for the children they had. And I'm going to show you at the end some posts from both parents who regret having kids and children who were raised by narcissistic parents who shouldn't have had kids. Just to show you the arguments we're going to hear from conservatives about why you should have kids are totally just nonsense. And a lot of it is given fascist vibes because it's all about bloodlines and ancestors and legacy, as if that means anything, as if you are so special, you're the main character, that you have to have children. And it actually combines nicely with a video I made nearly exactly 1 year ago about billionaires being obsessed with having children. Be it Elon Musk or be it Jeffrey Epstein, they were obsessed with passing along what they felt were their superior genetics, because a lot of eugenic stuff comes into this. It feels like a lot of conservatives are just trying to make mini versions of them to continue conservative politics. The thing is, I don't think not having children is, a radical act of anti-capitalism or whatever, but at the same time, a lot of people just view children as new workers, especially people like Elon Musk, right? They want people to keep having workers to sustain the consumer capitalist system, which needs more and more people to be fed into its capitalist machine. And of course, you have to have children to have people at this stage. We don't live in the age of Blade Runner yet. And I just want to talk about all of that today. And it might come across in this video that I think having children is stupid or something. I just want to clarify, it's your own life. Do what you want. If you want children, you want to raise kids and have a nice family, and that's your highest goal in life, that's perfectly fine. I'm totally okay with that. I got no problem with that at all. I do have problems with people who make their whole identity being a parent, shaming other people who don't actually want to be a parent because it's either very, very hard, or you just have to give too much of yourself to that and not do what you want to do in life, including things that might mean something, whether that be activism or whatever, or your own art or something. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Follow me on social media at the Kavernacle on all social media. Check out the Patreon if you want to support my channel continuing for the future, and also to get access to the Discord server. Now, this came to my attention, as many things do, with a viral post on TikTok, and conservatives getting really mad. So let's have a look at the original TikTok, and I will give my thoughts on it, and then we'll get into some of the backlash and look at some more TikToks.
We're DINKs. We're gonna get asked daily when we plan on having kids.
We're DINKs. Of course we're going to go out to eat every night after work.
We're DINKs. We don't have to ask our family for financial help or to watch our kid when we want to go out.
We're DINKs. We're going to go to Costco and buy all the snacks in bulk that we want.
We're DINKs. We have disposable income to spend on whatever we would like and don't have to spend on a kid.
We're DINKs. I'm going to go to every football game and play 18 holes whenever I want.
We're DINKs. We're gonna get asked at every single family event what we're doing with our life.
So that is the main one. I'm going to show you a couple more. They're kind of similar, and we'll talk about it.
We're DINKs. We go to Trader Joe's and workout classes on the weekends.
We're DINKs. We get into snobby hobbies like skiing and golfing.
We're DINKs. We can go to Florida on a whim.
We're DINKs. We're already planning our European vacation next year.
DINKs. We get a full 8 hours of sleep and sometimes more.
We're DINKs. We get desserts and appetizers at restaurants.
We're DINKs. We can play with other kids and give them back.
We're DINKs. We still do it 3 times a week.
We're DINKs. We spend our discretionary income on $8 lattes.
We're DINKs. We max out our 401ks, Roth IRAs, and HSAs.
We're DINKs. We don't use our kids or dog as an excuse to leave a party. We just leave.
We're DINKs. We're going to be asked constantly by family, friends, and strangers when we're going to have kids.
We're DINKs. We're going to go to Costco and buy all the snacks we want.
We're DINKs. We're going to support our friends who have kids, even if we decide to never have any.
We're DINKs. We don't need to find a sitter or rope our family into babysitting when we want to go out for the night.
We're DINKs. We're going to be told the only way that we'll ever be fulfilled in life is by having kids.
So I wouldn't call it tongue-in-cheek, but it's clear a lot of them aren't completely serious, right? And while you might not like them like rubbing their faces in people like who have children or whatever, at the same time, it's fairly harmless. They're just pointing out that, yeah, if you don't have children, you're going to have a lot more money. Like, that's pretty much just pretty standard. And you're going to have a lot more free time, and you're not going to have to be, like, rooted in one spot for, like, the school year, your child's hobbies. You're not going to have to give up basically your whole life to look after a child for 20 plus years or whatever, you know? So I have no problem with that, and it's obviously something that I think about a lot because I'm 28, been in a near 11-year relationship. At this point, I'm pretty sure I don't want children, and it's for a multitude of reasons. Partly the financial, which all these people talk about, because like who can afford children in this economy? Like seriously, who can afford like even one child, let alone multiple children? And at the same time, I don't think I'm even selfless enough to just completely give up my entire life for a child. Like I have my own problems with things like OCD and everything, and I don't think I might be even in the right mental space to be a parent. And if I'm honest, I'd rather live my life for me and do things I care about, not just consumer capitalist things, like buy the things I want, but, you know, that's nice enough. I'm not a materialistic person. For me, it's more about spending the time I have on Earth doing things I feel are important, and while I'm not doing that, relaxing and decompressing in a way I want to do, throwing a child onto that, even throwing like a perfect child who's well-behaved and has no issues, I think would be quite hard. So yeah, likely I will probably be dual income, no kids with my own girlfriend, and I suspect a lot of people of my generation will also do this more than the last generation, because also, like I said, the economy sucks. You don't want to reduce your already like somewhat humble living standards by throwing a child into that, and also potentially providing that child with not a nice childhood, because they're going to be growing up in maybe poverty, and they're probably going to have parents who might have destroyed their relationship over having a child, which is very, very common, right? So I got no problem with this. Yeah, you might take exception with how much they focus on buying stuff, but at the same time, it's your life. Do what you want. It's really harmless, and also loads of parents do this anyway, especially richer parents who don't even look after their own children sometimes by hiring, like, you know, nannies and stuff, right? So it's not even exclusive to people who are single with dual incomes. But anyway, of course, conservatives acted very normally about this. I'm going to show you like a couple response parody TikToks of them just to show you where they're at.
We're DINKs. We've been sucked into a death cult. We're DINKs. We're putting our immediate hedonistic desires above our long-term genetic interests. We're DINKs. We're part of a selection event, and we've been selected out. We're DINKs. We're coping with the fact that we're going to be failures as organisms. We're DINKs. When we're older, we're going to look back on our lives with a profound sense of regret. We're DINKs. We're going to die cold, alone, and with no one in the world who loves us.
We're DINKs. We lack the courage to fully carry out our convictions.
We're DINKs. The only comfort is found at the bottom of a wine bottle.
We're DINKs. We only feel validated on social media.
We're DINKs. Nihilism is our religion.
We're DINKs. Having kids would force us to be introspective and examine why deep down we really hate ourselves.
We're DINKs. We don't need children because we still act like children.
We're DINKs. Beyond that, we don't really have a personality.
We're DINKs because it's fun to pretend to be gay men.
We're DINKs. We're going to die in a hospital surrounded by strangers.
So yeah, you're already getting the sense that these conservatives just feel like called out, and they're tying their whole worth as a human to reproducing, and thinking all your worth in life comes from that, and talk about, you know, when you die, you're going to be alone on your deathbed. Like, why does not having children ensure that? Like, do you have no relationships in your life at all? Like, do you have no friendships? Do you not have, like, your own family that you have right now? Like, you know, I come from a massive family. Me having kids doesn't mean I'm going to be, like, alone on my deathbed. Yeah, sure, that could mean that. If you have no friends and family, sadly, people do die alone. But also, having children is not an antidote to that, because, let me tell you, there are plenty of people with lots of children who are alone in nursing homes. There are plenty of people who die alone, who had loads of children. Because you shouldn't have children just because you're scared of being alone on your deathbed, or thinking, you know, well, who's going to look after me when I'm old, right? It's not a good excuse, because if you're having it for those reasons, you're having children for the wrong reasons, and there might be a good chance they might realise that as they grow up. But I think Matt Walsh articulated some of the really bizarre conservative reasons why you should have children, and they don't seem to revolve around, do you want a nice family environment that maybe, you know, you didn't have growing up? Have you always enjoyed being part of a large family, and you want to have your own family one day and share all these amazing experiences with your child? Like, do you want a child who you can, like, watch, learn and grow and become their own independent human being who isn't a clone of you, and watch them, like, either thrive and, you know, they will struggle as well, and you can help them and give them advice? Isn't that nice? Isn't those good reasons for maybe having children? Like, you actually really want them, and you're financially secure enough to provide them with a nice environment for them to actually have a good life. Doesn't really seem like something some conservatives have really thought about, because people like Matt Walsh, I imagine, aren't very present fathers. He has like 6 children, and the world he wants for them is like a fascist hellhole, and he just wants them to be extensions of himself. That's what most conservative parents want. They want mini versions of them to go out and continue their legacy of being hateful conservative bigots. But let's go on to what Matt Walsh was saying about this. It's a long video where he just reacts to it, but he did say some stuff I want to talk about later on.
They're so dedicated to this calling, so intent on consumption, that they are willing to end their own bloodlines to pursue it. His ancestors fought and struggled and persevered and pioneered and bled and suffered, all so that he could exist. And he stands now at the end of a procession that stretches back into the ancient past. We all do. Right? Every single one of us. A line of people who made his very existence possible, who migrated thousands of miles and fought wars and tamed wildernesses and built homes and civilizations, all for him. And he turns back to those people, to his ancestors, to his blood, and he says, yeah, sorry guys, we're done. We're done here. I'm going to end the bloodline right here. I'd rather have some extra spending cash to buy Doritos, I've decided. The sheer hubris is astounding. Though, of course, I realize that this man would be totally mystified by the notion that he has any responsibility at all to his family, his ancestry, his bloodline, much less to the God who created him. He hasn't thought about any of this. He's thought only about his own immediate happiness. But in pursuing happiness above all, happiness through luxury, happiness through consumption, he will miss it. Because happiness comes from fulfillment, and fulfillment comes from doing that which you are made to do. Okay, it comes from finding your place in that ancient ancestral struggle, from taking part in it, from building the next generation so that the fight can go on. Happiness comes from fulfilling your purpose in life.
So yeah, if you're getting the sense Matt Walsh is an unapologetic fascist, then you'd be correct, because what even is this argument? It's selfish not to have children because you disrespect the ancestors. The ancestors who you know, conquered America and killed all the natives, Matt Walsh thinks is a good thing. You disrespect them by not having more children. And what is this like Assassin's Creed bullshit? Like about some sort of genetic power being passed down. Like, Matt Walsh, what do your kids take from you inherently, right? Apart from just the physical traits. I swear American fascists all have this main character syndrome where they do think they're like the next protagonist in an Assassin's Creed game. Like, oh, I have my ancestor, Ezio, and then I have Connor, and then I have all these other people, and now I'm the new main character. I must carry on this bloodline, as there's something intrinsic to being born into a family that makes you special. It's the exact same stuff that the royal family in the UK, you know, subscribe to. Something about our bloodline, which we must keep pure, makes us special, and we must live up to that bloodline. Again, it makes no sense. It doesn't matter what family you're born into. It honestly makes no sense. And this, like, again, is conservative brainwashing, that you have some sort of responsibility. And also, because this is a fascist saying this, what am I also thinking he's saying by you have responsibility to the ancestors? You have responsibility to white people, to the white race, as Matt Walsh has talked about a lot, the Anglo-Saxon race and stuff, because if everyone in these videos was not a white person saying this, do you think Matt Walsh would care? Or do you think he'd say it's a good thing? He's actually talked about demographic shifts and increasing numbers of non-white people in America, and he's framed it as a bad thing. So would he think if every non-white couple was actually dual income, no kids, that's a bad thing, and all the white people were still having children? No, he'd think that's a good thing. So that's the dog whistle you hear there. Not that I would say that any of this is very subtle dog whistling, because I think it's very obvious the rhetoric and line of thinking he's going with here. The only thing missing is the very explicit references to white people, but we all know that's what he means in what he's saying. But yeah, this like notion that there is no greater calling on earth than raising a kid. And also, you know, he focuses on the consumerist angle. These people talk about, you know, holidays, buying what they want, and yeah, whatever, you can criticize that, but at the same time, is there not an argument to be made that plenty of people can do great stuff without having children, and actually they might have only been able to do great stuff because they had no kids. They had that no responsibility where they could go and do what they want to achieve great things. I streamed about this the other day. I was in Belfast and I was in the Republic of Ireland recently as well, and speaking to some Republican guy about one of my ancestors, Sean McDermott, and guess what? He planned an uprising against the British. He started the process of the Irish people to freeing themselves from colonialism. He didn't have any children. Like, none. Didn't have a wife either. Spent most of his time organising for the Republican cause. Achieved something great. He set in motion events that would free his people that he cared so much about. And he had no responsibilities apart from to himself and his comrades and his family, right? And would Matt Walsh make the argument that someone like that should have actually just had children to honour his ancestors and legacy? Or did this guy, even in his own way, honour his ancestors' struggle by not having children, completely focusing on himself to lead the struggle, right? Again, I'm not just saying it has to be that extreme, but there's plenty of stuff you can do with that free time and money from not having a family and not having children, which you can put to helping people. And millions around the world do this. They take the time they have by not raising their own kids and family by doing great work. And again, there is a higher calling for people, I would argue, than just popping out a child. Popping out a child doesn't mean anything. Well done. You've done something that all animals can do. Yeah, you can be a good person on how great a parent you are and how you raise that kid to be a very nice person, maybe someone who will do great things. That's perfectly fine. But just a simple act of having children doesn't mean anything. But to these people, it does. You are a better person for simply having kids. Doesn't matter if you're a bad parent. Doesn't matter if you raise them right. Just have the child. And that honours your ancestors and lives up to the great things they fought for, like in Matt Walsh's case, colonisation. But I also want to take this chance to kind of pivot a tiny bit, because a lot of these conservatives are saying the same stuff about like legacy, ancestors. You know, your life will be bad if you don't have children. You haven't done anything with your life if you don't have children. And these are just terrible reasons to have kids. If the reason you're having a kid is to honour your ancestors' bloodline, don't have children. Just don't. Don't have children for stupid reasons, because you're going to end up like this. There's two subreddits I want to read from. One is regretful parents, and one is raised by narcissists. So two ends of the spectrum. You have the parents who regret having children, and you have kids who were raised by terrible parents because they probably had them for bad reasons or didn't actually have a stable home life to offer these children. So I can't take it anymore. I hate my life. I've been manipulated into being a mum and a daughter who is now 6. She is gifted and has ADHD. Her dad is a narcissist and both treat me bad. No sense of respect. No care for others. They wake me up constantly whenever I try to sleep. They're loud. They don't care if someone needs anything like food, sleep. Both lie and gaslight. I just want to leave. But what kind of person will it make me if I leave a girl at 6 years old? I want to be hit by a truck. I'm literally at the end of my nerves. It's totally worthless to talk to them, and they just do what they want. Regret having her because I don't feel like I'm strong enough to take all of this any longer. I hate all this, struggling terribly. I'm 6 months postpartum and having a horrific time. It hasn't gotten better till now, and I don't know why. This all happened because I was forced to stay pregnant, even though it was killing me. I really feel like it's coming to a head at the moment. I hate all this, and I wish I could just snap my fingers and be gone. Will I ever let my hair down again? This is exhausting. I now understand why there's no I in mother. The only attractive feature left of me, my hair, has to be tied up in a boring-ass bun 24/7. I'm covered in saliva or sweat, and I'm sad. How do mums in the reels do it? I feel scammed by society, by everyone who told me how fulfilling motherhood is, how much they wanted it for me, how great of a mother I would be, how it's tough at times, but it's so worth it. By my own stupid brain that switched up on me. I'm so jealous the people who didn't fall for the lies. And some of the comments to this one saying, I relate to this so much. Not sure why motherhood is so positively advertised. Who needs sleep, breaks, money and self-care anyways? Hobbies and holidays are overrated and expensive. No one is interested if you reach your stupid egotistical life goals. Sorry, it was a scam. Your hormones tricked you into this. Me too. My daughter was born 1 month before I turned 30. I thought I wanted this. Everyone told me I'd be a great mother. I'm not. I'm a terrible mum. I get easily annoyed and stressed. My daughter was a crybaby. She's 8 months now, louder than other kids. I love her so much, but I still wish I wasn't a mum. I miss my old life. And one more thing I want to read from this sub. I regret having another child because he has a medical diagnosis that prevents me from getting reliable and affordable childcare. I take care of him 24/7, and the constant management of his life has given me horrible anxiety and depression. I've lost weight, throw up every morning, I'm in therapy, but sometimes I think if I never had him, how life would be so much easier. It doesn't take away my love or ability to care for him. I put all of my energy into that. I am a selfish monster, and I don't deserve to have the kid apparently, which I think is easy to say from someone who is child-free, has healthy kids, or tons of support. Now, if you go onto that subreddit, Regretful Parents, you will see a lot of posts like this. And something that's common is that there's no support network. And even people said, you know, all my family said they support me. They don't, because they don't actually care about children that much. And lots of people saying, I wish I wasn't convinced by my husband to have children. I wish I wasn't convinced by my family to have children. And that's something I wanted to hone in on, is that we do not have honest conversations about how hard it is to be a parent here, especially if you yourself have struggles, which would mean bringing a child into your world would really exacerbate those struggles. Like I said, I have bad OCD sometimes. Bringing a child into that would be hard. If I had like severe depression or mental illness and stuff, I couldn't imagine that. But again, people are told the highest, goal in life is to have children. And you failed as a person if you haven't had children. And someone also said there they have postpartum depression and stuff. That's another thing we don't talk about. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about how the physical toll on people of having children, you can just completely mess up your organs as well. You can mess up your ability to go to the bathroom normally. All this stuff we just don't talk about. Because if we started speaking about this, then certain people would get mad, like Matt Walsh. Well, you're undermining the most noble cause in life, which is to have children. And I don't want people to stop having children, because I know loads of people love children and loads of people want this nice family. But what I want is a more honest conversation about the difficulties of having children, not that the only place you can hear opinions, like I've said, are from subreddits, which are basically anonymous, because people cannot say these things in public to anyone, because it's so taboo that once you have kids to ever complain about raising kids. Even though most people tell you it's one of the hardest things you can do, and you literally have to give up your whole life for these children and your whole identity. And yeah, for some people, they might want their identity to be just parent, mother, father, or whatever. But at the same time, a lot of people, and someone said about, Reels and TikToks, they act like they can do it all. They can do it all. They can still be this mother and be themselves like they were before. But that's just fake for social media. Or they have economic stability and support where they can do that. And like I said, you can't keep telling people they have to have children if the economy does not facilitate that. Because are you helping them more with their finances? Matt Walsh's whole Like, conservative policies aren't saying, let's have more children. I'm gonna, if I was the president, I'd put way more money into childcare and like creches and stuff, so people can still have a semblance of a life and have children as well. Conservatives don't want that. They just see you as a baby machine. And that's it. You're not a person. You don't deserve to be helped. You don't deserve to be a mother and a person outside of being a mother. That's it. Baby machine. And on the other end of the spectrum, I talked about these parents. But now here's another one, raised by narcissists, which is about, a support group for people who've suffered from terrible parents. Watching the lowering of my mum's coffin, and I felt a new peace. Once I saw that she was going to be buried, I felt an enormous cleansing wave sweep throughout me. Guys, I never dreamed it would be possible. Years of relentless and unflinching invective aimed at me, and her collecting pity points from anyone who would listen about her horrible daughter. Done. Over. No matter what, I will no longer have to live in dread of her onslaughts of accusations. That book is finished. I can revisit it. I like rereading a book, but why? The past buried with her, and I'm free to embrace the future. And one more post, December depression. It kicks hard every year. Barely any happy Christmas memories. Just reminds me of stress and crying. Every year, when I wasn't walking on eggshells, someone was yelling at me or bossing me around. Any energy I had before visiting family was extinguished by negativity, hurtful comments, and the expectation to be a helpful server rather than a family member. I know it's better to be alone than be with them. I know they're not happy. I know they are saying when I'm not there. I wish they were capable of missing me as a person, but they never cared enough about me to bother trying to know me. I'm just a prop, just using me as a garbage can for their own resentment. The reason I'm showing you both those subreddits is to show you that having children for the sole reason of keeping your bloodline going or trying to give some meaning to your life without sorting your own problems out, without actually having much of a desire to be a good parent, just leads to situations like this. Like, yeah, I sympathize with people in this scenario. I sympathize with people who become parents based on societal conditioning, pressure from a partner, pressure from family, thinking like that's what you're supposed to do. And then they have a child and realize, I'm not cut out to be a parent. I hate this. I regret this so much. Or my child is just terrible and we don't get along. Just because we're family doesn't mean we're going to be best friends and stuff. And I sympathize. But also kids know when parents don't like them. And that's why you have children like this who are happy that their parents are dead. And you have children like this who are happy they never have to see their parents, but, Christmas is ruined for them forever because their parents were terrible. Because a lot of their parents didn't want them for good reasons. They want them because they felt they had to. They want them because of the pressure of society. They wanted them to keep their bloodline going or some shit like that, right? And that leads to unhappy children, traumatized children, children who grow up with loads of problems, and it leads to parents who become terrible people. Like, some parents who become these narcissistic parents might have started as lovely people. And throwing a child into any relationship is going to be hard, and sometimes it makes you into a terrible person as well, right? So we need to get past this conditioning of society that you should have children. Like, there's some sort of responsibility to have children. In an earth with, so many people, you specifically must have a child to save your ancestors' bloodline or something, right? Again, the narcissism on display here, the main character syndrome, no. I would just say to anyone, if you want children, have them for the right reasons. And make sure they have a home which can provide them with a stable upbringing where they're not poor, where they're not lacking for food, where they're not lacking for emotional support, where they're not lacking for people to care about them. Because if you're just struggling on your own, as you as like a dual income, no kids couple suddenly want kids, but you're struggling, then yeah, don't have them. Because again, you're just going to set that child up for failure. And like I said, you might have experienced this. I know loads of people in my extended family should have never had children. Women specifically had their lives ruined by having children with a terrible guy. And that's another point of it. Having a child with someone, basically, legally as well, if you're married, you're stuck with them for the rest of your life. They are going to be in your life forever, even if they're terrible to you. So it's a good way to just completely ruin your life. So don't fall for the propaganda. Like I said, I don't mind people who want kids at all. There's plenty of leftist people who have children. There are leftist YouTubers who have children that, I know. And I'm not saying to any of them, you're an idiot for having kids, but just don't have kids because you feel pressure. Don't believe this eugenics, ancestral bloodline BS that you must carry on. Because again, if you're talking about your highest calling in life, it's not to pop out a child. Anyone can do that, basically. Most humans can do that. It's to be a fundamentally good person, and if you can, help others. Whether that be locally or whether that be spreading it to loads of people, right? And I use the example of my own ancestor, who I'm not directly related to because he had no children, right? But at the same time, he did something. he did something important. And he did something important because he spent all his time dedicated to this one cause. And if he was a good father, he wouldn't be able to be dedicated to the cause like he was, right? Loads of different examples like that. So anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.